Welcome to Laptop Empires. I am Brian Downward, and this is episode number 2. Today we are going to talk about influencer marketing and how you can work with influencers in your industry. Now, this is a really important subject because up until recently and before, really for the dawn of social media, a lot of companies would use celebrities to endorse their brand, which worked really well. But because of social media and the internet, there's thousands, probably even millions of these micro celebrities who have amassed a large following or large community around a certain niche. So that's important for businesses because now we can collaborate and work with these people who have access to the audiences we're looking for, which can catapult our brand and put us in front of the right people. And the best part about all this is if you can do it the right way and you follow the strategy that I'm about to lay out right here, you can do this for free. So one thing I do want to say about influencer marketing before we dive into this is I like to look at it as relationship marketing. And if you're in this for the long haul and want to be an influencer in your own industry, it's going to take relationships with these very people that you're trying to reach. So that's important because you need to look at this as a relationship building process instead of just trying to leverage them for their audiences. If you want to be in this for the long haul, then you need to create long-lasting relationships with these people. All right, so let's dive in. Before I get to the 5 steps, though, I want to talk about a couple of things that you should avoid. And this is, a lot of people get this wrong. And again, this plays into playing the long game and not trying to go get immediate results and hope that you're going to get the world and become an influencer overnight, because it's just not going to happen. So here's what you want to avoid. Avoid going for the ask right away. So if you're just going to reach out to someone and they've never heard from you, they don't know who you are, and you ask them for something, chances are very, very slim they're going to respond. So I get people messaging me on Instagram and emailing me all day saying, hey, Brian, can you give me a shout out? Or hey, can you put a link in your blog post to this? And I don't even know who these people are. And it's a little bit insulting that they're just going to think I'm going to do them a favor just because they send me an email. So you really want to avoid that because you can sour these relationships and burn a bridge before they ever begin if you choose to do that, okay? And another thing you want to avoid, and this is important, is you want to avoid going for the really, really big fish right away. And what I mean by that is the A-listers in your industry. These people who are super busy, are getting hit up all the time. If you are just starting out and you don't have much of a following, you're not going to get these people's attention. They're just way too busy. So you want to start a little bit lower and build your way up and through the influencers, all right? So step number 1, this part is very, very easy. But a lot of people just miss this and just haphazardly start reaching out to people. So you need to first identify who you want to actually work with. So just pop open a notebook on your computer. I use Evernote personally. You can use spreadsheets, whatever, and just keep an ongoing list of different people that you want to work with. Now, what you want to do here, again, is categorize them, and don't let them see this, but categorize these people by A-listers, B-listers, and this isn't a requirement, but it'll help you kind of understand who you have a better chance of working with. Again, if you just try and go for the A-listers, they're not going to give you the time of day. So you want to start with people who are more at your level and more willing to collaborate with you, and you can work your way up. So step number 2, now you need to get on their radar. So you want to subscribe to their newsletter, go to their website, learn a lot about them, and make sure that you're getting their newsletters, and you just learn who they are, what they care about, and a little bit about their history. Just be a person, just genuinely care about who these people are and what they've done to get to where they are. You also want to follow them on social media. That's a given. Your favorite networks, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, they're not necessarily going to notice that, but the point is you're going to be getting their content and getting a deeper understanding of who they are, what they post, and what they care about. Now this is important because this is where you're going to start to really get on their radar. You're going to want to reply to their newsletters, comment on blog posts, reply to social media posts, and genuinely share something with them that you learned or somehow in a way that they had benefited you in your life. Because that's what people are doing this for. They want to help other people. That's why I do these videos. I want to help people like you. So people are flattered when you reach out to them and say, hey, I learned so much. Thank you very much. You are awesome. Keep up the great work. And not expecting anything in return, and people are going to respond to that. So you do this for a while. You comment on blog posts, reach out on social media, and do this genuinely. So step number 3. Now is the part where you're actually going to reach out to them. And you can do this through a direct message on Twitter or Instagram, but that doesn't always work. I actually have made some really powerful connections through Instagram's direct message feature, but it's not always going to be your best option. But a quick tip, if you are going to go that route, what you can do when you message people is don't just type out the message. Take out your phone, actually shoot a video and send it to them. It's going to be a lot more impactful, more personal, and you can make a better impression when you're trying to reach out to these people. But personally, I like to do email. That's where a lot of people get most of the things that are important to them from the people they care about. And this is, even though it's 2017, email is still key. So if you can, dig up their email. And a great way, if it's not listed somewhere, if they don't have a contact form on their website, you can go to a tool that I love called Voila Norbert. You can type in a name and a website, and it'll actually dig up and see if it can find emails for you. It works really, really well, and I'll make sure to include a link to that below this video. So what you want to make sure you do, though, when you're reaching out, you want to make sure that the message is highly personalized. People, and these kinds of people especially, get messages all day long that are canned. People got them on a website, they've got advice from someone like me who said, hey, send this message, and they sent it 1,000 times, and this person's going to see that. If it's personalized, they are going to actually take notice and know you're not just some person who's trying to take advantage of them or just access their audience, but that you genuinely care about what they're doing and that you're listening. Now this part is key. It's not the next step, it's still part of reaching out, but while you're in this process of reaching out and getting to know them, or sending that first, hey, I love what you're doing, you really want to hone in and understand what they're focused on. Now it can be as simple as just asking in your email, hey, what's your focus right now? I'd love to see if I could offer some value. But if they have this already on their blog or they've shared that through their newsletter, they're going to be a little bit insulted or just say to you, hey, did you even look at my website or did you see my newsletter? Because if you actually liked my content and it actually helped you, then you would know that this is what I'm focused on right now. So you want to be careful that they already haven't shared that with their audience, because you should be an engaged part of their audience. But it's really, really key you find out what they're focused on. And if they don't have that and they're not sharing that openly, you just simply ask them. And it's a great way to open dialogue and then hopefully figure out a way you can help them. So that leads me to step number 4. Now you want to provide them with value. And again, you find out what they're focused on so you can help create value around what they care about. And this one's important, guys. So the amount of value that you give to someone needs to equal or completely outweigh what you are going to expect or ask of them someday. So what does that mean? If I'm going to ask someone to maybe share a link to my website, then I'm going to need to probably make them an infographic. Or if I want someone to maybe feature me on a column they have or on their website, then I might need to do an interview with them. But so the point is, there's no right or wrong answer here, but you need to, when you create value for them, really, really outweigh the amount of value that you were ever going to ask from them. That way when you do ask, that chances are they're not going to say no. Now, it's also important that the amount of value you bring to them is also based on the audience size they have. So if you're going for these A-listers who have millions of followers, they don't need you to do simple things for them. So you need to go above and beyond, and that could be as an extreme example of giving them a percentage of your company to be a person who promotes that, or an evangelist for your brand, or as simple as making a custom video for them for a new product they're launching, or write some emails out if you're a really good copywriter, just something that provides them value. It doesn't have to be related to marketing. If you're a really good cook, maybe you whip them up this fancy recipe or something and send it to them as a personal thank you because they've helped you in your life somehow. So all of these things are just examples, but you need to create value in your life, and the amount of value, you need to create value in their life, and the amount of value that you create needs to outweigh anything that you're ever going to ask them for. So step number 5, and here's the important part, and this is how you actually start working with them. You need to step up your collaboration. So what does that mean? So instead of just doing something simple like, hey, I'll do a guest post on your blog, or maybe we'll work on an infographic together, you need to do things like webinars, live events, content partnerships that now are going to give you access to their audience. So the really easy way to do this is to just ask. And if you've done steps 1 through 4 properly, like I just talked about, and you've created a lot of value in their life, and again, the value created outweighed what you're going to ask, you can just ask them, and they're going to say yes. They're going to be beyond excited to help and more than willing to do so. And just make sure, take this into consideration, you don't want to ask too early in the process. I know I talked about this before, but if you just go up to someone and say, hey, maybe we should do a webinar together, that's not very genuine, and they know you just want access to their audience. So you need to make sure you ask at the right time and after you've created value for them. And even then, it still won't always work. Influencers, especially in the marketing and business industry and niche, these guys are crazy busy and are getting hit up for these things all the time. That's why it's a numbers game and a relationship game. It needs to be an ongoing process, because maybe the person you wanted to work with couldn't work with you this year because they're just already maxed out. But hey, 1 year down the road, 2 years down the road, you guys could have a chance to work together. It's a numbers game and it's a relationship game, so it needs to be an ongoing process. Now, the last thing that I'll note, and this is kind of a bonus tip, you can call it, is you want to leverage past relationships and past work you've done to create new opportunities for yourself. So what does that mean? I was featured in HubSpot. They picked up an infographic that I had done many years ago. I mean, not many, say 2-3 years ago, they picked up an infographic of mine. So I saw that, reached out to them, say, hey, I'd love to do more infographics for you. That got me a column. Then I used that to reach out to someone who worked for Inc. and get an interview there. I interviewed him, he featured me in one of his blog posts, now I'm on Inc. And then one of my friends, Asan from Australia, he's a writer for Entrepreneur. So I teamed up with him, we did an infographic together, and then I'm featured in Entrepreneur. So I'm using these past things that I've done, past people I've worked with, to entice future people to want to work with me. So again, guys, this is all about relationships. I know you want to work with influencers, you want to become influencers yourself. That takes time, and if you're in this for the long haul and you're a real person who's genuine, then this shouldn't be difficult. You should just want to reach out to and talk to interesting people who are in your industry, and you can do that using these 5 steps that I've laid out here today. So guys, thank you very much for your time. Again, my name is Brian Downard. This has been Laptop Empires Episode 2, and I will see you guys in the next one.